Nick Maravets of Locked On Cyclones. Are the Iowa State Cyclones in a position now to win the Big 12 conference after beating Kansas State? And do you think they should be the favorite?
Absolutely. I don't see, and I know that that's going to be a little bit of an overreaction for some people, but they are 1-0, the only 1-0 in the conference team. And that's, I don't think it really sunk in for a lot of people how big this game, like this, it's so easy to think that as week 0 or week 1 game's a throwaway. That's what we're so used to, right? This game actually mattered for conference play. Like, I think people understand that, they know that, but did it really click in that this was a big one? And so I think getting this one over a good opponent in Kansas State, definitely a team that'll be trying to claw their way back at the end of the year. You now have the head-to-head and in the eyes of the committee. At this point, a very good team for what could be a college football playoff push. Just from the numbers standpoint, I think absolutely Iowa State is in this.
What you've kind of concocted here before we get to the rest of the game is a weird scenario in which Iowa State needs to root for Kansas State the rest of the way. The more that Kansas State wins, the better for Iowa State.
Yes, I would agree with that.
That kind of sucks because they're your rival, but also it continues to make your resume look even better. Rocco Becht, 14 for 28. 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you gave me that stat line, specifically 14 for 28, I probably would have told you Iowa State is not going to win the game. Part of this is weather. Part of this is the dominance of the run game, or consistency, I should say, of the run game for Iowa State. 46 carries for 130 yards is not necessarily dominating, but it was consistent enough to go 4 yards, cloud of dust, first down, win the game. Rocco Becht, in the biggest moments, was a dude, but 14 for 28 does worry me.
No, I think a lot of that's the rain. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of it's, hard to throw in the rain. Some of it's hard to catch in the rain. And we saw that with the reverse pitch. Yeah. I think Rocco's got all the skill. And the biggest thing to me was a lot of people are talking about Iowa State's offensive line. It was pretty rough for that first, half really was kind of where it was really ugly. How many times did he break out of that situation? Step up in the pocket, evade 3. There was a play where I genuinely thought it had to have been a screen, the way that the entire defensive line was just a heat-seeking missile. And he still found a way to evade a lot of those cases. So I think Rocco's got the ability. Like, I think he's the guy now, right? Like, it's never that he wasn't the guy, but he should be considered one of the top quarterbacks in college football. Don't let the 14-28 fool you. We saw back-to-back dimes. The touchdown to Brett Eskelson came right after a throw to, I believe it was Bramer. Could have been Burkle. It was a tight end on the right side. So he threw a dot to the right side, dot to the left side, both in a bucket, both caught, kind of, in a way, but one only counted for the touchdown. That's not in the box score either, right? So, you got to account for that stuff. He stepped up when it mattered. He made, and I don't know if you've touched on this, but he was given 2 plays for that 4th down call.
Yeah.
4th and 3. Matt Campbell said, hey, pick one of these. He makes the call, and they obviously converted, right? And he had to make that throw. I saw everything I needed to out of Rocco Becht in this game, and I think he's only going to get better over the course of the year. Just looking at his tape a little bit from last year, he definitely progressed through the course of the year. I thought he looked really good late in the year, and I hope to see the same thing this year, just knocking off the rust a little bit.
Yeah, four times he was sacked, which coming into this contest, two guys who graduated out last year on the offensive line that were really good. You return 3. One of those guys is out. Now you've got 2 of 5. That's not a very good spot to be in. And I didn't think Iowa State's offensive line was elite, but they were good. They were better than I thought that they would completely crumble given the injury issues and the fact that you lost such good talent from last season. And I was surprised last year when you had 2 of the best wide receivers in college football, you're given more of an opportunity to go deep and utilize athleticism from your receivers. This is more of the Iowa State that's going to find the tight end, find the hog molly, find the big boy across the middle, make this thing interesting. And in Big 12 play, I'm interested to see the dichotomy between that and an Arizona State that's going to go to Jordan Tyson, or a Baylor who's got 3 or 4 really good X options who are going to go deep.
I also think we shouldn't sleep on Eskelson. We have heard all I know he's not a name that a lot of people know. Like, he just isn't, because he hasn't really had the chance to kind of make the name for himself. But we have heard all offseason how good this guy is. He's killing it in fall camp. He's killing it in spring ball. He's killing it in summer workouts. Like, we have heard this name at Locked On Cyclones all offseason, and it showed, I thought, in this game. I think you're exactly right. I think the tight ends are going to be a massive part of this as well. But granted, keep in mind, we didn't see any of Sowell or Townsend. We did see Sowell drop one, but we didn't see any receptions for either of them. I think that we'll start to see them kind of weave into the game plan a little bit more, maybe some jet sweeps from Townsend. I know that was something that had been mentioned. I'm not worried really about everyone asks, are we worried about the wide receivers? I think we've got it. And Eskilsson being an actual wide receiver, I think he's a dude.
Xavier Townsend, not a single catch, which is crazy to me. And Iowa State won the game. When you unlock him on a clear, sunny day in Ames, Iowa, against the Cyclones, as the Cyclones against the Hawkeyes, that's what I think Iowa State can develop into an even better, more dynamic team, is when they get just one singular non-Irish hurricane.
Well, and also think about, too, something we haven't mentioned. Iowa State was extremely disciplined this game. Kansas State, I thought, shot themselves in the feet a couple times, with some holding penalties. I believe they had a false start as well. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it just felt like they were constantly kind of, whenever they broke one, if it wasn't a touchdown, they were kind of getting called back. Iowa State was really, really solid in that regard. And I thought play calling from Mauser was better this year. There were a couple instances. Why are we pitching it on the 1 yard line when it's pouring rain? I don't love that. Why are we throwing it at the end of a drive where we're averaging 5 yards a carry on the ground? Why did we switch that up? There was a couple of moments, but throughout the course of the game, offensively, our play calling made complete sense. Like, it actually was a really good game plan.
This guy, he's been on the screen for a little bit now. If you're watching on the YouTube, his name is Dominic Orange, or Big Citrus. Big Citrus. It's an incredible nickname.
So good.
His stat line's not crazy. But if you watch the game, you're like, who is the 6'4", 325-pound kid who's just wreaking havoc? Even when he's not getting a sack or a tackle for loss, he's just wreaking havoc. I think I love Big Citrus.
How can you not? This graphic was thrown up during the game. He benches 450, squats 650. He cleans 365. Do you know what his vertical is? He's listed at 325, 6'4", 325. You know what his vertical is?
Like 7 inches.
34.
Stop.
It's like, how is that even a human? That's got to be some sort of, that's a robot. I don't know. How is that even possible? So
it's a Big Citrus is what it is.
That's an Iowa State Cyclone for you. That guy, Iowa State loves him, obviously. He chose to come back this season to really prove that he can do it. I thought he played really well in this one, just across the board. Obviously didn't have a crazy box score. Ike was another defensive lineman that I thought stood out. We've heard a lot from this defensive line this offseason, and when they released the depth chart, I thought, oh man, we are going to cause some problems this season. I think we're going to be a lot better at the run, stop. That was something that the linebackers we struggled with last year. We were so beat up. We were so much more deep at linebacker this year, and that defensive line. Yeah, we are. The question, I believe, was, does Iowa State belong in this Big 12 championship conversation? Are they the favorite? I said this all offseason, and I truly mean it. I don't know how this roster doesn't get back there, or at least within a game. The way that this roster is shaped, where the skill is, where it's deep, it doesn't make sense to put them. You put them at 7 wins. I said there's literally no way that happens. The only way you assume that is if you just assume that they are going to be bad. That is the only way you get to that number.
That's Nick Maravets of Locked On Cyclones. I love doing the podcast every day, don't you?
This is my favorite part of the day.
When the people make it their first listen every single day. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks again for making these your first listen every single day. It's Crossover with Cyclones and Dose Grande.